In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 segments that need to be there if you want to run successful webinars. I've done over 600 webinars till now, generated over 10 crores selling through webinars, and I can tell you that I don't experiment on these 5 different segments. Every webinar of mine will have these 5 segments, and I'm going to go deep into it and help you understand this on a more deeper level. Let's go and dive in.
Give it up for Siddharth Ransingham!
Hi, Siddharth Rajshekhar here. See, webinars are the best way for you to be able to establish a rapport and relationship with your audience, to educate and engage them before you even offer your product to them or even offer your service to them. There are different kinds of funnels, and I think I did a video about this earlier on. And there are some people who feel that, okay, I don't want to do webinars, I just want to sell through, say, WhatsApp, or I want to just sell through direct sales. I want to just run a video and get people to buy my products. See, the advantage of those things is, yes, it is hands-free. You don't have to sit for 90 minutes and speak and bring out your confidence and bring out your knowledge and stuff like that. You can do it completely on autopilot. But the problem in those methods is that you may not be able to get customers who understand who you are, or customers who understand what you stand for. Okay, so when you bring people into a webinar, you can establish a deeper rapport and relationship with your audience, where you can also establish your authority in your space, in your domain, in that span of 90 minutes. Okay, so there are 2 kinds of webinars that I normally do. One is a sales webinar, which is what I'm going to be deconstructing in this video. And you have another webinar, which is just the information webinar. It's only for my inner circle members. I'm not selling anything there. I'm just giving information to them. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 5 segments of a sales webinar. And these 5 segments have to be in that same order if you want to really generate sales. Because giving information is okay, but getting people to pay you money is something totally different. Even though you may have the knowledge, I'm here to tell you that you have to get good at the skills of selling. And selling is all about removing resistances. Or if you just type removing resistances in the comment box below, if you're watching this. Sales is a form of removing resistances. And if you can remove the resistances in the form of your content itself, then you will see a lot of people who will end up buying your course. Okay. So the first segment of the webinar is the context that you set for the webinar. So when people come to a webinar, I set the context, telling them how long is the webinar, what are they going to learn, what's in it for them, and what will be the outcome by the time they finish this webinar, what can they do with the knowledge that they're going to receive. So make it very clear, because this webinar is not to show you or show to the people on how great you are or how much knowledge that you have. People don't care about that. People care about the results that they can get by going to the knowledge that you're going to give them. So set the context. The other thing is, people are normally skeptical when they come for the webinar. Can this really work for me? So also in the context setting, talk about your credentials, talk about your credibility, talk about some of the results that you've achieved. And even if you're somebody who does not have results immediately, you can even borrow credibility and talk about the results that others have achieved by implementing this formula, which is what you're going to share. For example, when I was starting my webinars initially, I did not have any results. I would talk about my mentor. I would talk about what formula he taught me, and by applying that formula, what results that he got. So I was borrowing someone else's credibility, with giving due credit to them, and I would explain the same principle to my audience. And I would talk about my mission. I would say, why am I doing this webinar? And I would give them a background about my story and where I'm coming from. Okay, and keep the story like 3 to 5 minutes max. Some people I see in the webinars, they go on and on about themselves. That's not the right thing to do, because if it's a new audience there watching you, they want to know how it can help them. Your story should be so precise and so to the point that it should enhance their experience about you. In other words, by the time you share your story, they should be in a position where they really feel that they know you and you're able to establish a rapport and relationship with them. So that's what the first segment of your webinar should have. Setting the context, establishing your credibility and authority, talking about your mission and your story, and then you get into the next phase, which is the content. So this segment 1 can be for maximum 15 minutes. If you're doing a 90 minutes webinar, 15 minutes you should cover all of this. If you're going more than 15 minutes, that means again you're going wrong. You're maybe speaking too much about yourself. Okay, keep it to 15 minutes. The second segment of a webinar is the content piece. Now this is where you can go deep, and even when it comes to content, it's good to break it into 3 elements. Like in my webinar, when I normally share my digital coach blueprint, which has 3 elements. Each element I spend 15 minutes in each of the segments. Okay. So in the first segment I talk about the stack, second segment I talk about systems, and the third segment I talk about the skills. So when you break it into 3 parts, it makes it very easy for them to digest, as compared to breaking your content to say 10 ways to do this or 21 ways to do this. Maybe you can do a video on that, but in a webinar have 3 solid segments. Okay, or you can share your 3 secrets. Then I learned this from Russell Brunson. He talks about the 3 secrets format. So when you have 3 segments, and each segment you're able to go deep into it. When I say deep, 15 minutes into each segment, then it will be a perfect webinar. So 15 minutes of intro, 15 minutes of your content. So 1 hour of learning, and then you can get into the next segment, which is the offer or the sales pitch. Okay, the sales pitch can be for 15 minutes if you're doing a webinar. And what is sales? Sales is nothing but a transfer of your emotion and energy, and also educating your audience if they want to continue on the learning journey with you. And the important thing is, when it comes to the offer, when it comes to the 1 hour mark, I normally tell my webinar that, if those of you want to stay, you can stay. If those of you want to leave, you can leave. Those of you want to continue on this learning journey with me, I'm going to give you something more to know about. And people end up sticking on to the end. So I have a very high sticky rate because of the 2 components. See, if you have done your first segment really well, and if you have over-delivered value in the content piece, it's by default that people will want to come and know more about how they can continue on the learning journey with you. It's a very logical step-by-step framework here. So when it comes to the offer, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. Like, how do you really increase the conversions? That's what I teach in depth inside my course on how do you really structure the webinar, minute to minute, in such a way that people are able to see the value in what you're providing them. And for me, the thumb rule is 10x. Okay, so if anyone pays me even 1 rupee or $1, I will ensure I give 10 rupees, $10 in value. Okay, the keyword here is value. All of you just type value in the comment box, because if you're not adding value, if you're really not delivering the goods, even in the webinar, then you won't have lifelong customers. Okay, we are not in a business where it's just a transactional business. We are in a business where it is a relationship business. Your relationship with your customers has to start at the point of sale. So the way that you structure your offer should be to go into how the courses are going to be helping them. What is the actual value of the particular products, and make them see that it's really valuable, and then you give them an irresistible offer, which is, again, I have a 10x rule over there as well. Okay, if your entire value of your product is 50,000 rupees, you give a webinar offer for 5,000 rupees. If the entire value of your stack is 1 lakh rupees, you can sell for 10,000 rupees. So the 10x rule. So that's how you have to even engineer your entire value stack. In fact, I have a few videos on my YouTube. You can go and check it out on how to design your curriculum and how to design your course structure. So it all has to be a part of the value stack, and that's also what I cover inside my webinar. Okay. Now, if you want to be there to learn more about this, what I would recommend that you do is, there's a link I'm going to give you right now. If you go to sids.co/formula, you can actually learn that formula that helped me achieve over $1 million in the last 21 months, implementing this model, selling my courses and doing the webinar format. Okay, it's just a 45 minutes video. Go through it and complete that immediately after you finish watching this. Okay. So what is the third segment? The offer. Now, once you complete the offer and once you give them the offer, people will start buying your products. You can start to welcome all the people inside your community. And if you're doing a live webinar, you can do that. And then you can move into section 4 is questions and answers. Now, why you need to keep Q&A after the offer is because a lot of people may want to buy after the Q&A also. So you need to give them an opportunity for that. Those who are decisive, they will buy during that offer period, during that 15 minutes. Then you answer questions, put up a Q&A. In fact, sometimes I just put a Google form and ask people to just ask their questions. And when I look at those questions, what they have typed in the Google form, and I see some of those questions are repeating every webinar, I take those questions and I ensure that in my next webinar, I address that in the webinar content itself. And that's how I refine my webinar from one to the next, so that the next time, nobody will ask me that same question again. Remember I told you, webinar is all about removing resistances. So Q&A segment, if you're able to document all the Q&A and then keep tweaking it from one webinar to the next, you'll have like a perfect webinar. Okay. So do a Q&A, remove the resistances, answer the questions, and pretty much the questions will be the typical questions that people have. I don't have time, I don't have money, I'm not qualified, can I do this, can I not do this? Okay, so give them all the inputs over there. And finally, the last segment is you can give them gifts. Okay, I normally like to give gifts in the webinar, or I tell people that, you know what, since you attended this webinar, you're going to receive an email from me after this webinar with gifts, and I give away some gifts. I give some free courses, and I ask people to connect with me on all different social media channels, in my Facebook group, on my YouTube channel. And even those people who did not buy from me, I tell them, you know what, for me, it does not matter whether you're bought from me or you're not bought from me. I want to establish a long-term relationship with you. So even if you're not bought from me, you can join me on my YouTube channel, you can join me on my Facebook group, and you can still get free information from my side. So that way I establish a deeper connection with my audience. And there are some people who have not bought my webinars, and they ended up attending 10, 15, 20 webinars, and then they have bought after that because of the value that I kept delivering for them, even in the other channels. This is the business where the ones who will win this game are those people who will add immense value. Okay, and the information that I'm sharing with you here, I'm sure you know by now that this is incredibly valuable information. If you follow this, you will be able to change the game for you and in your knowledge business in terms of the revenues that you can make, the connection that you can have with your audience. I'm sure you're able to see that. And I'm going to continue adding value like this in my forthcoming videos. So what I would like you to do is, if you're not on my YouTube channel, search for me on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button. Every day I'm going to be launching some video like this, either a video like this or an interview that I'm doing with some of my students who are getting results. And there's a playlist there called the Hall of Fame. Just go and check out the Hall of Fame. I have like hundreds of interviews over there at this point, and people from all walks of life getting results. So for me, the entire focus in my whole approach is adding more value, giving groundbreaking concepts in a very short span of time, so that you're able to get value from that. And the spotlight is on my students. It's not about how great I am, how much money I'm making. If you see that, I never actually share any of that externally and openly. It's all about you and how you can win and how you can get results. And this framework that I shared with these 5 segments works like a magic. I follow this even till today. I would never change the order of the sequence that I've actually shared, even in the future, because systems work, people fail. That's what my mentor told me. And if you follow the system is going to work for you. Okay. Cheers. God bless. Looking forward to sharing more information like this in my forthcoming videos. Bye-bye.